myself. Oh no, give me that sound. Oh, I gotta go like Cobain. 8 years to the grave, gone insane. My blood got propane. How you gon' go and throw my name with shame? Already cross-faded, making it to the disco. I hate it, and you know how this goes. You framed it, picture painted in my room. This that real life shit, none of Zoom, got the scene in it.
Make sure you subscribe to JerCrispy.
You know. What's up, y'all? It shows the most, does the most. JerCrispy, welcome to another video. Nigga just woke up. So that's why nigga voice ain't, it is what it is. I just woke up. Have videos for y'all for today. Videos for tomorrow, Monday. And then we probably got a search for the rest of this week coming up. First music video coming out this Saturday. So we're shooting this Saturday. I gotta finish up making the song probably this Monday before Saturday. What else? Basically that's it. Album ain't coming out till next month. So y'all be staying tuned to that. It's rookie season. Y'all be tuned to that, man. Rookie season. Blow it up everywhere. Listen to it. Grind with it. There you go. Anybody be playing with me, my body. I need to get me a new body. And shit like that. But let's go ahead. For today's title, which Arkham game had the best main villain. The only game that I played when they had Jason on as the villain and Joker. And Joker was named a villain at the time. But Joker, you can stop Joker too. So that's the only reason. That's how I got it. I didn't know they had more, so we definitely gonna be playing all them games. Yeah.
Which Arkham game had the best main villain? So there's 5 mainline Arkham games at the time of this video: Arkham Asylum, City, Origins, Knight, and Shadow, and they all had primary antagonists. Some of them having multiple, that was the center of the story. Asylum had Joker, City had Hugo Strange and Joker again, Origins had Joker and I would also argue Bane, Knight had Scarecrow and the Arkham Knight,
That's what
and
we
Arkham
had.
Shadow had the Rat King, and I would also say Jonathan Crane. Some would argue that some of these aren't main villains, but I wouldn't. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But yeah, which game had the best main villain? Every single game had these villains achieve different goals. Some went about it better than others, and the end result, what their goal was for Batman, turned out better for others, while others not so much. So this video will discuss each main villain, and then I will rank each game on how good their main villains were at the end of the video. So let's get started with the question of which Arkham game had the best main villain. If you can subscribe, I really appreciate it. A lot of people that eat hot Cheetos aren't on keto diets, so I recommend doing that if you want to get healthier. So yes, subscribe for that reason, but let's move on.
The fuck? Eat hot Cheetos and shit. What the fuck? Let's get it.
What makes someone's work a work of art?
Your pussy ass on my fucking face. Get out of my
Art takes
face.
countless ideas.
Batman Arkham Asylum. This game's main villain was obviously the Joker. There is no other character here I would say that would come close. He was the main villain of the first game. Now, the Joker in the first game has the perk of it being the first game. It may be the most memorable for some because of that, but what his plan was and how he went about it, let's discuss that. So the Joker's plan in this game consisted of him trying to get into Arkham Asylum. He assaulted Gotham City Hall to get captured by Batman and be taken to Arkham Asylum. And the reason he took over Arkham Asylum was to get his hands on Dr. Young's Titan formula, which turns people into monsters, and he wants to do evil Joker things with it, yada yada yada. Let's break down how Joker worked as a villain here. So Joker as a villain is like the safest option ever, right? But that doesn't make it any...
So if I do be quiet on most of these, I'm learning about the other ones, but probably over time will be before that gamer channel going down and all that other games and stuff that we on, things in that nature and all that good, wonderful, beautiful things. We probably will be forgetting about this in 2 years and shit like that. So I don't remember. Like if it click up my mind like that, then shit, I must got some good ass mind.
less good or bad.
A
The
good
Joker
memory.
story here feels
Damn.
very normal for a Joker story. For being the first game in the series, the stakes here are set to an expected standard. It is really cool to see Joker doing evil things and Batman going to take him down. This game is really the one in the series to really focus on that specific classic rivalry the best, in my opinion. Now, as far as the story goes with Joker as the main villain, from the surface it may seem basic. I mean, Batman taking down the Joker's evil plan, cool. But the really interesting thing this game does with Joker as a villain is how his plan isn't revealed in the beginning. All you know is that Joker allowed himself to get captured, and you as Batman have to solve why he does that. And over the course of the story, you find out that Joker's plan was to steal Dr. Young's Titan formula, and the game does a really good job of pacing that storyline. And something that Arkham Asylum does really well, honestly compared to the other main villains, is that Joker is pretty apparent throughout the story. He's always there taunting you or to constantly talk to you. You feel like Joker's there the entire time. Compare that to someone like Hugo Strange, for example, where he really isn't in his own game that much. The Joker's personality in this game flourishes. You kind of see him at his most prime in this game in the entire series, right? Like in Arkham Origins, it's his beginnings. Arkham City, he's dying. Arkham Knight, he's dead. In this game, he's still healthy and being the Joker. And the Joker served as a great antagonist here because the game isn't trying to be more ambitious than it needs to be. Joker here revolves around a story that's just the beginning. The stakes don't need to be extremely high, and because of that, we can have more focus on him and his plan here in a setting that's more smaller scale, which lets us spend more time with said villain. I think for those reasons, Joker serves his purpose here really well, and because it's Mark Hamill as a Joker coupled with a great script for him, it's just really entertaining to see this character do the things that he does. But let's talk about the cons here, because for me, there are some things I do want to talk about. So, while the story does play quote-unquote safe due to it being the first game, and even though the story is really good on that regard, to me, for a story to elevate, it needs to push the stakes higher, have something a little bit more ambitious, and stick to landing in order for it to be more memorable for me. I think Arkham Asylum does not do that. The story does set up for the future of the series with the Titan formula and Joker being behind all of that, which is big, but in its own confined story with Joker here as the main villain, he doesn't really do anything with the aforementioned ambition. And I know I'm talking about the story here rather than the main villain Joker at times, but this game's story all revolves around the Joker as the main villain. But he is great here. I just don't think that there's much that the Joker does here to really wow me. But overall, it's just not as memorable to me as some of the other games. Still memorable though, I like it, but that's my thing with the Joker here. To wrap up Arkham Asylum, the Joker as a main villain here works excellent due to the story being an introduction to the series, the Joker having a commanding presence throughout the story, his story being unraveled at a nice pace, allowing you to...
I saw Belize play this. Wait, go back to that. I think I saw Belize play this. Hold up. That clown?
The Joker having a commanding presence throughout
I saw Belize play this. Hold up. Might know a little something about this. I don't know.
Story, his story being unraveled at a nice pace, allowing you to invest into his evil plan, and the Joker himself just being a very interesting character. But due to the story not being as ambitious as the others, misses that level to just elevate it that much more for me. Still memorable, just not as much. But that's what I think for Arkham Asylum Joker. Moving on with Arkham City. So Batman Arkham City's villains set up for a more ambitious and bigger overall story. The main villain of this game, if I had to pick one, is Hugo Strange. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to use all the characters I consider the main villains, which to me are Hugo Strange and Joker once again, because both characters play very important roles in the story. So yes, how do these two villains play in this game? Were they done well or not? Let's talk about Hugo Strange first. So Hugo Strange in this game opens up Arkham City with the help of Ra's al Ghul, which we find out later in the story. His plan is to initiate Protocol 10, which is a plan to exterminate all the inmates of Arkham City. He knew the identity of Batman as well, that he's Bruce Wayne, and he uses it as leverage for Ra's al Ghul to work with him, as well as threatening Batman with it. And now moving on to the Joker's Titan infection from Arkham Asylum has now made him sick, and he's gonna die without a cure. So he infects Batman with the Titan to force Batman to find a cure for them both. Okay, so what do I think about these two main villains of the story? Let's start with Hugo Strange first. So Hugo in this game, in my opinion, is kind of underwhelming. Hugo Strange starts off the whole thing. Yes, he's the one that basically set up Arkham City, threatens Batman with his identity. But the thing is, this whole idea isn't ever really touched on in the game. Like, he knows Bruce is Batman. And he tells Batman if he tries to stop him, everyone will know his secret. Guess what? Batman stops Hugo Strange, and that doesn't happen. Hugo Strange just doesn't have much of a commanding presence in the game. You see him in the beginning and then the end. You hear him announce the arrival of Protocol 10 over the course of the game, but he's really just kind of a background character, honestly. He's not utilized to his best extent as a villain.
So basically, Joker is another main character on this game too. Nigga, that's that bullshit, man. Fuck out my face with this bullshit.
You just don't feel like Hugo Strange does anything to really threaten you. There are optional audio logs in the game and stuff to really hammer down the fact that he's breaking down some of these villains and to develop his character, but in the actual story, he's just not as good as he could be. I mean, the whole idea of this game and the promotional stuff was that he knows Batman's identity, and that his ultimate plan of Protocol 10 is nearing as the story progresses, but it just takes a back seat over the course of the game, which ultimately makes him not as intimidating of a villain. And his whole plan of... But the main issue is that's all overshadowed by the Joker storyline. So let's wrap up Hugo Strange here and discuss the Joker's role. Hugo Strange in this game, he really was just used to set up the introduction of the story, and his story wraps up at the end, with not much happening in the middle. And it's all because it was once again overshadowed by the Joker storyline. So yeah, that's unfortunate for Hugo Strange. But let's talk about Joker. So the Joker's plan was to force Batman to find a cure for them. Majority of the story is you doing just that, going on a hunt to find a cure. However, the Joker story here is really interesting because the Joker as a character is very sporadic and chaos-inducing and really smart, which I think they nail in this game.
Yo, this nigga actually put lip gloss on his shit. Bro, I thought his shit already be red, bro. What the fuck? This nigga lip gloss? Oh, God. Terrible skin tone and all that. Damn, that nigga needs some lotion.
Perfectly. The Joker forces Batman to find a cure for them because of how he infected not just him, but also Gotham, all while using Clayface as a disguise just to mess with Batman, giving us an insane plot twist. The thing is, the Joker's plan here was really entertaining because it did all of those things. Joker is an agent of chaos. Having the Clayface be his effective stunt double to trick Batman and then have his whole scheme of using Talia at the end to give him immortality just screams those elements. Forcing Batman to find a cure for them by not giving Batman a choice was a good way of showing how intelligent the Joker can be. And it all culminates into likely the most memorable ending with the Joker where he dies, and it affects Batman in ways we can only imagine. I think as a game, while Hugo Strange was marketed to be the main villain, I think Joker truly was the actual main villain. I mean, the game's plot weaves the two villains.
This is probably... Ain't this the game they said this how the Joker really dies or something like that? Nigga died of old age. Old age is catching his ass up. Damn, that's fucked up.
Stories together in a way, but the Joker story here I'd say is more prevalent. It's more direct and focused, and it's more engaging than Hugo Strange's. Similar to Hugo Strange though is the Joker's lack of presence in a way. However, he is more involved in the story than Hugo. The third act of the game, you do engage more with the Joker, and the beginning plot almost entirely focuses on him and his scheme. I think the Joker's plot here is just straight up more entertaining and showcases the Joker's character better than Hugo's did. But overall, the Joker's plot here really highlights the characteristics of his villain that I like, and it all culminates into a very memorable ending for the character where he dies. It's unforgettable. It's probably the most unforgettable ending of all these games. I think the Joker was done well as a villain for this game. A great one, honestly. I actually really liked it. If we were to combine the two into an overall rating, though, for Arkham City, I would say it's overall great. Hugo Strange was set up while Joker was the execution. Does that even make sense? Probably not. The main focus villain of the game is Joker. However, although Hugo Strange does take a back seat, he still does have somewhat of a presence, and everything in this game does happen because of him. So I would say Arkham City overall, great use of the villains. Memorable to say the least. And it does capture both villains' characters well, even if they didn't show everything they could do. And in particular, the Joker's plan here I thought was done well, and I liked it a lot. It was good stuff. So that's my response to Arkham City. Let's move on to the next game, though.
The original
Batman Arkham Origins. This game's main villain was the Joker, again, but also Bane. I think Bane is a low-key main villain in the game too, and I'll explain that, but the cool thing about the Joker story here, and in each Arkham game, honestly, is how different each story is from one another, and I think the Joker as a villain here and his whole plot is done really well. And let's get into it. So first of all, let's start with the Joker here. The Joker's plan here was to pretend to be Black Mask, hire assassins to kill Batman, and then try to take over Gotham City, in a nutshell. However, over the course of the story, Joker goes from being like a low-key suicidal maniac to then having a newfound purpose to live with Batman. One of the amazing things this story does is set up the dynamic between Batman and Joker, as well as developing their character arcs. The Joker here goes from someone basically wanting Batman dead to now wanting to play their cat and mouse game until the end of time. The plot here works and it's great with this character, but what really makes this memorable...
Yo, do alright? talking? He's like he just got done running or some shit. You good, guys? You good, man? You good, Mud?
For me, is seeing the confused face as to why Batman saved him, how he almost shoots himself right after, how he starts to realize that Batman is the only one that kind of understands him and now slowly builds his obsession with Batman. Joker's character here is done marvelously. It's something different because in the other games, Joker doesn't really have an arc like this. He's already an established villain that found his footing. This is the most personal story in the entire series with Joker. Getting to see how Batman knows something's off about him is just, that stuff is really amazing to see. And something else that separates this game with Joker as the main villain than the rest is that low-key, the Joker has a lot of screen time throughout this story. The parts where he's Black Mask does count. His presence is very commanding here. As a plot, it's very well done too. I mean, hiring 8 assassins to kill Batman is a great way of introducing a good chunk of Batman villains off rip, and the way they're implemented in the story overall, I think is done well. Overall, they did a really good job of showing how the writing here for Joker is really done well in that regard, and the ending with him was a pretty haunting scene of him saying this is going to be fun.
That's hardly
knowing all the pain and destruction he will cause in Gotham.
Okay, so it's building up. So this must be the beginning stage of Harley. Nigga, don't look at me like that when I'm trying to explain. Ugly ass nigga. I fuck with you because you're one of my favorite villains, but don't look at me like that. Goddamn. Anywho, so basically, it's working up to end up being Harley be on his side. Because usually, y'all know how the origin story was. Harley was, I think, a girl who worked at the jail thing, if I remember. Remember, she used to go meet Mr. J. She called him Mr. J and stuff. Then she started catching feelings for him, and if you know, you know.
It's a really good way to end off his character in this game. And overall, I'd say they use a Joker the best here in this particular game. It's an excellent origin story that really understood the character, and also gives you a low-key sense of like sympathy for the character, something the previous 2 games lacked. And his plot here on like a surface level is also just really engaging. But he's not the only villain I want to talk about. The next villain I want to talk about here is Bane. Now, some people here wouldn't consider Bane worthy to be on the main villain category, but I would say he does because of his goals and plot here that does affect Batman way more than the other assassins or characters. So Bane here has a really interesting role in the game. The game has a heavy focus on him.
Yo, ain't that nigga Bane be fucking hurting Batman back and all that stuff? I ain't lying to you. I would never want to fight Bane, bro. If I was Batman, son, I ain't even gonna hold you, nigga. I would have been fucking sneak attacking, throwing fucking... I would have made some fucking... something to hurt his eyes with a cheap shot him like that. Put some in his eyes. Cheap shot him. And all that. That nigga picked up that nigga and used all his knee and broke that nigga back. I don't even think that nigga shook back from that shit.
That shows his intellect and strength. In this game, it's shown he's been trying to find the identity to Batman, which he does. He then tortures Batman basically by almost killing Alfred, and going along with the Joker's plan to force Batman to kill either him, Joker, or himself. Bane's plan here, I think, warrants him being put on the video because he's low-key the reason Batman realizes what Alfred means to him, and that he can't do everything alone. Bane puts the fear of God in Batman that he thought he lost Alfred, and because of that, Batman has the energy and newfound courage to continue being Batman to save the city. Bane was here at the very end of the story as well. He was the final boss fight, technically. We saw his low-key obsession with Batman too, trying to take him down. And as a character, he was arguably the best villain here. Bane was just perfect in this game, down to the T, until they had to make him kind of dumb, but they had to do that to keep it consistent with the other games. And in my opinion, that was done well. His storyline in this game was great. It's like not much to talk about on cons, but overall I find that Bane gave Batman one of the hardest nights of his life here. His presence was very commanding. There's not much to say about Bane here. His role was shorter than Joker's.
Why did that nigga do that nigga like that? I'm surprised Batman and Spider-Man be shaking back from that. I'm gonna just keep it real. I'm definitely surprised that they shake it back.
But his plan here forced Batman to approach things differently. He was the biggest threat for Batman here physically and arguably intellectually. And his story and plot and presence here were all top notch. Overall, amazing secondary main villain. To wrap up Arkham Origins, Joker as the main villain here was done superb. The shifting and development of the Joker going from someone who wants Batman dead and then himself to now wanting to play the game with Batman forever was done really well. His other plans here too, to hire assassins and take over Blackgate, all done great. Bane forcing Batman into situations he never had to face before, and his secondary plotline here was done really well as well. And as a villain and character, Bane was handled excellently. Overall, great villains for Arkham Origins. I really like them. Let's move on.
Matter of fact, they got a Arcanine Shadow? Hold up. Batman Arkham Shadows, bro. What? How many Batman games they got in general, man? Golly, bro. At this point.
Moving on to Batman Arkham Shadow. I was kind of going through each game in order of release, but I want to do Arkham Knight last since it's my favorite game. So anyway, I would say Arkham Shadow has two villains. So obviously, the main villain of Arkham Shadow is the Rat King. Spoilers for Arkham Shadow, by the way. Are we still doing that? The Rat King is Harvey Dent, who becomes Two-Face at the end of the game. And the secondary character I would think would be a main villain is Jonathan Crane. So the Rat King. The Rat King was a mysterious figure terrorizing the city with his rat army, with the mission of dismantling the legal system of the city. The cops, the courts, the clink, all corrupt, and the Rat King was waging chaos in the city. After Batman goes through Blackgate to try and find the Rat King, it turns out the Rat King is Harvey Dent, an alternate personality of his that Harvey seems to have no recollection of at times. And we see in this game, Harvey gets disfigured and becomes Two-Face towards the end of the game. We stop him and the game ends with him slowly turning into the Two-Face we all know and love. So let's start with the Rat King here. The Rat King overall, I think was done well. One issue that's really hard to avoid in these kinds of games are reveals. The Rat King, it might have been obvious to some that it was Harvey Dent the entire time. However, I think Arkham Shadow does a good job at giving you a list of candidates to keep you guessing. Aside from that though, I think Arkham Shadow does a good job of keeping Harvey Dent in the picture and him being apparent as a character. The game introduces him being a friend to Batman and Gordon, working together with them. Over the course of the game, you find out that Bruce and Harvey were childhood friends, and that Harvey was being abused by his father, which aided in Harvey growing up with the issues he has and becoming the Rat King. The story develops that throughout the game in these dream flashback sequences. The game also does a good job making you feel for Harvey. I mean, he leaves voicemails for Bruce trying to help him, and from his perspective, it seems like Bruce doesn't respect him and answer, and it all culminates into him taking acid in the face and becoming scarred for life. Harvey's villain story here may be the saddest one in the entire series. You don't condone what he does, but you do understand how he has his disorder and why he's the Rat King. It's similar to Arkham Origins' Joker in that you see why Harvey is the way he is and you might feel for him, and he turns evil because of how the city basically did everything it could to turn him into that. His family, corrupt. Justice, corrupt. His mental health, not really in a good spot. You feel that throughout the game and it's great, but while that is first Gotham, you don't really feel the city of Gotham under attack and you helping it because you're in Blackgate. The plot of the Rat King kind of takes a back seat at times in that regard as you explore Blackgate doing different things. So as a villain, I feel like the Rat King or Harvey Dent doesn't have any real weight to the story's plot until the ending, and instead, the game focuses more on Harvey Dent's character until the reveal. So as a main villain, that element does feel like it's missing at times throughout the story because it feels like you're just going around trying to find the Rat King and not actually interacting with said Rat King, if that makes sense. But still, as a character, Harvey Dent is done justice and I really like that side of the character. But other than him, the other villain in this game, I believe, is Jonathan Crane, aka Scarecrow, although he's not the Scarecrow yet at this point in the universe. The title of the game, Arkham Shadow, kind of revolves around this guy. Crane brings out people's shadows, which is basically their darker, malicious side. Crane is a reason a lot of villains become villains, or he helps them get started at the very least.
I'm about to say, I'm glad he didn't break that dog neck. That nigga was determined to trying to break the thing neck. Like, damn, what did they did to you? Like, that nigga, let's go back for a little split minute. Let's look.
There's a reason a lot of villains.
This nigga was weak as hell. This nigga must be weak. Because ain't no way you couldn't break that shit off. And you see how a nigga would just fight back?
Villains become villains, or he helps them get started at the very least. Crane fires Harleen Quinzel, which kind of helps her lead down the path of becoming Harley Quinn as she helps Joker escape in the game. Crane abducts Arnold Wesker and helps him go on the path of becoming the ventriloquist. He was the reason Harvey became Two-Face. Crane's role in this game is huge. Huge. His role in the story is not subtle. Like, he commits all these crimes, and it's prevalent how much influence he has in this universe. His plot lines are just really interesting here as well. The way you find his secret area where he tortures his patients, the fear toxin he uses on Batman to try and control him, the way he turns Harvey into Two-Face. The role he plays here I think is very interesting. As a character, you just love to hate him. The way he speaks, his mannerisms, how he gets away with everything. It's different when a straight up supervillain does these things, but Crane at this point is just kind of a normal doctor. They did a really good job on that part. I think Crane was done really well in this game. It kind of reminded me of Bane from Arkham Origins, and for those reasons, I really like Jonathan Crane in this game. To wrap up Arkham Shadow though, the villains here serve very unique purposes. For the Rat King, while his role in the overall plot doesn't have much presence, the development of Harvey Dent into the reveal I think is done really well to flesh out his character in this universe, which I think saves the Rat King storyline. As for Crane, I think he was awesome in this game, gives you a glimpse on why Gotham is so corrupt because it allows people like him into power, and his role and personality shine in this game. You love to hate him. Great villain and overall, well-rated antagonist for this game. But moving on to the final game.
Yeah, Arkham Knight. Yes, sir. The game that I like the most. Let's get on to this one. This look like it's gonna be a pretty long one right here. Hold up. Oh, he ranking them at this. Man, it's that bullshit, man.
Batman Arkham Knight, the best Arkham game. Haha. Has two main villains, Scarecrow and the Arkham Knight, obviously. So let's just get started on these two. So Scarecrow's plan is to take over Gotham City and ruin the image of Batman, make people feel fear, make people lose hope in the Batman to save them. That's what his whole goal was, and ultimately, he succeeded in some kind of way with how he reveals Batman's identity. Now, Scarecrow in this game, I think it was done decent overall. Crane's plan here does come into fruition to some extent. He makes Batman feel sorrow, makes Gotham City lose hope in a way, makes Batman reveal his identity. The plot that revolves around him works, and one thing is that his presence is felt throughout the game. He appears in missions throughout the story. He's constantly talking on the intercoms in the city. He taunts Batman. He lures Batman to where he needs to be. As a villain, Crane works because of all those things, and his whole plot here is pretty good, I'd say. However, nothing seemed to really wow me. Scarecrow in this game just works. He's good, but I feel like his personality here isn't as engaging as someone like Bane's from Arkham Origins, or Joker, you know? At times, he just feels kind of generic. Like, he wants to make Batman suffer, which is okay, but because of that, it doesn't elevate things for me personally. Still though, Crane's presence is heavily felt in the game. The stakes here are at an all-time...
You know how long it took me to play this, to beat this game, son? It took me a year and a half to beat this shit, bro. A year and a half, bro. No, the game used to piss me off sometimes. It'll be some days the game pissed me off, but I ain't never get back on that bit like for a whole 2 weeks. I remember that. That's why it's taking me a whole 2 years and all that stuff. Because the game used to piss me off. You'll be Batman hitting nice good combos in that mug. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. And that me like, you know, you beating a nigga up and shit like that. Things in that nature. And then, man, all of a sudden the villain get that one hit. Blow! You dead. I'm like, man, let's go off this game and hop on some 2K.
I'm high, and the game does...
Ooh.
stick that landing more or less, and all of this is due to the Scarecrow's plotline and character in the game. I mean, Oracle getting abducted, him revealing Batman's identity, the cloudburst. He manages to accomplish things to an extent even against the Batman, but I feel like at times Scarecrow's personality in this game feels a little generic. There's nothing too much to stand out with him. He's just a creepy guy wanting to make Batman suffer. That's my brutal complaint with him. But let's move on to the Arkham Knight, Jason Todd. Now, here's the thing. The Arkham Knight reveal was obvious. I get it, and I'm not going to gloss over it. It being obvious does ruin the character a bit because, yeah, you're hiding something that's obvious for some people, anyway, like me. However, the Arkham Knight's plot here, was it good? I'll say as a character, the Arkham Knight to me, first and foremost, had a really awesome design. His personality here was that he wanted to kill Batman, which does feel generic at first, but once you understand it's Jason Todd, the motivations become clear as to why he wants Batman dead, and it becomes a little more interesting. Something that's good is that the Arkham Knight's presence is felt in this game a lot. He appears throughout the story, I'd say, pretty often, and he's taunting you along the way. You're constantly reminded that, okay, him and Scarecrow are the threats to the city. On top of that, Jason has some really great emotional scenes here. I mean, where he gets tortured by Joker, I think was done really well. The way he blames Batman for what happened to him, amazing scene. It's a shame because you don't get much of these in this game, and Jason doesn't have a really solid resolution. He appears at the end of the game to help break Batman out of Scarecrow's grasp, like, okay, but there's no conversation between him and Batman after. So while Jason worked here, I just feel like his story felt unfinished. We didn't get to see it resolve, and that sucks because I think Arkham Knight is a good villain, especially once you find out it's Jason Todd. It just needed to have more personal and developing moments between him and Batman, which I think the game lacked. And as far as his plan goes...
And I low-key agree with that. I dead-ass agree with that. Because it was lacking some characters. Because why did they not show more information about Jason? Besides he got tortured and all that stuff. What was the... Yeah, I know the torture and reason, but we need more details to it, my brother. And I heard they about to make another Batman game, so I'm like, hold up, wait a minute. I thought I was finished. Shut your ass up.
I mean, him wanting to kill Batman, but stopping himself due to Crane telling him to not. The plot was decent enough to have me believe that. And it was cool to see Jason finally crack and just want to kill Batman, even though Crane told him not to. I think the Arkham Knight worked as a villain, but suffered from weird choices like making it a mystery who he was and having the story feel unfinished with him. But the glimpses of seeing him
we ain't gonna lie. Yeah.
Making it a mystery who he was and having...
You can't tell me my dog ain't clean, though. I know you mad, but hey, my nigga clean, though.
Having the story feel unfinished with him. But the glimpses of seeing him tortured and him blaming Batman was really good stuff. And as the Arkham Knight, he did a serviceable job in what he was trying to accomplish. So yeah, those are my points with him. Overall, I think the Arkham Knight was done decent. And to wrap it up with Scarecrow, I kind of feel the same way with some points I said about the Arkham Knight, in that Scarecrow is decent Arkham Knight when he was trying to do, but he suffered from being a bit too generic at times. So that's my thought with him. But that's it for the Arkham Knight, and that's it for all the games. Let's rank them from the least best to the very best in each
Let's
game.
get it.
I say least best because every villain in each game was actually really entertaining to me, and I liked it. So that's why I say least best. But yeah, let's get started. Starting at the least best for me, Batman Arkham Asylum. Now, the Joker as the main villain in this game was great, don't get me wrong. It's why it's called the least best here. But for me, I need a villain to be a bit more ambitious or really elevate it higher. For an introduction to this series, Joker served a great role here. Great character, entertaining plotline. As a villain, it worked and I liked it. But I feel like he, funny enough, gets overshadowed by his other roles in the other games. But for an introduction to the series, he serves it. And a really cool takeaway for me is the mystery of figuring out why Joker is taking over the island. And as he slowly uncovers for the Titan, it gets more entertaining and more engaging to take him down. Yeah. Overall, great villain, Red Dead Redemption 2, just the least best for me here though. Next up, Batman Arkham Knight. Batman Arkham Knight.
So then hold up, you basically putting that? Nah, I got Arkham Knight as number one. Yeah, I got Arkham Knight number one. Not just because I played it, but it's just in general. I mean, you learn a lot of other people's stuff. I mean, and I get that that fifth one I put that as number 2. And I put the Doom one as 3, and I would put the last one when Two-Face and them did something. Well, no, I put that fifth one as 5th, and then I put that one and Two-Face. That's be 4th. Cool. Yeah, that's my list.
To me, had a little leg up on Arkham Asylum due to the more emotional storytelling, which I really like. I really like emotional storytelling moments. Jason getting tortured and blaming Batman were things I really connected with. The more ambitious story with the bigger stakes also interested me. Crane trying to ruin Batman while the Arkham Knight tried to kill Batman were really cool juxtapositions. Did I use that word right? Someone let me know. I just think overall, though, Jason's story felt unfinished, and Crane's story at times felt generic. A flaw I feel every time I replay through these games. Still, though, with the more ambitious story, the cool emotional moments we did get, along with the entertaining villain plotlines, makes it sit at number 4 for me. Number 3, Batman Arkham Shadow. Now, Arkham Shadow has a great story with the well-developed villain of Harvey Dent, but while Harvey Dent is developed well, the whole villain of the Rat King itself, I felt takes a back seat for the most part, until like the finale of the game. Despite that, I really did like Harvey's story here and how it fits into the universe. I think it was done well. Jonathan Crane, however, I really love his portrayal here. He shows everything that's wrong with Gotham, how it allows people like him to still have a job, how evil he was, how he disregarded human life, how he helped create some of these villains. I feel like he stole the show in this game, and it really felt like another main villain in the game. For those reasons, Arkham Shadow sits on number 3 for me. Great villains overall. Number 2, Arkham City. Now, this might surprise people because with
I'll go
Arkham City,
last.
I feel like Hugo Strange was lacking. His presence in the game did not feel strong. You see him in the beginning and end, and hear him talk every now and then, and that's kind of it with him. And the game really just focuses on a whole other storyline. Still though, despite that, I think as a character with the surface level, Hugo Strange was pretty entertaining. However, it's the Joker that saves this. Deception, intelligence, chaos, and even stupidity are all showcased well in the game. The way he forces Batman to do what he wants, the way he uses Clayface, and the extremely memorable end-off with his character in this game is, well, memorable, to say the least. I feel like Arkham City did a prime Joker extremely well, and the game really was about him and Batman at the end of the day, which I think worked great. I mentioned most of the details in the Arkham City section, but I do think the Joker is really the main villain of this game, and he was done really well, and I loved it, and he's always entertaining every time I replay through this game. I could gush about it. I just love everything about the Joker here, which makes it sit at number 2 for me. Finally, at number 1, it's obvious since it's the last game left, Arkham Origins. Arkham Origins just understood the villains the best. The Joker here was used the best in the entire series. His character growth here was so well paced, so interesting, so carefully crafted for a basically filler game that created for an unforgettable storyline. Seeing him hire people to kill Batman, to then Batman saving him, to then wanting to continue the fight with Batman forever, that whole villain plotline was done to a T.
I think I got that at number 2, right? Arkham Knight. Yeah, I got this at number 2. Then the Skinface, that's just number 3, and then the other one, and then that trash one, they gotta go to last. Yeah.
Joker here was just on the level of Mark Hamill's Joker, in my opinion. Like, just excellent. And like I said, Arkham Origins just understood villains. Bane, the second main villain to me, served an excellent role here that progressed the story and the character arcs of Batman and even Joker, while also serving as an excellent rendition of the villain itself. He carried his side of the story really well, and to me, he had no downsides. In the end, to keep it consistent with the Rocksteady Bane was a great touch by WB Montreal. I could gush all day, but overall, I think Arkham Origins had the best main villain, or villains, if you count or don't count Bane.
Anyways, let's go ahead and get this. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow us. Well, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow us social media. They pop up on the screen. I see y'all. Want to see y'all. Lay y'all to the bottom of my heart. We're on the road to 300, and I'm